Hi, everybody. Brian Boteller from the Grants Pass Gospel Rescue Mission. Welcome to another podcast, video podcast of resident stories here at the mission. And I am standing here with my friend, Stephen Head. Stephen has been with the mission now for
almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. And we're out in the garden today because really, this is one of the pet projects that Stephen has gravitated to and been like really instrumental in the success of over his time here at the mission. Last year, we raised
just under 20,000 pounds.
Just under 20,000 pounds of produce. And when I say we, I don't mean me and Eric, who's holding the camera right now, and all the other staff of the mission. I mean, largely, a lot of the work has been done by and or directed by Stephen. So your work here out in the garden is just kind of what?
Basically taking care of the garden. I mean, watering, prepping the beds. It's like we're getting ready to plant next week. We'll be planting 35 beds. We spent the last month prepping beds, covering them with plastic. Today I've actually started to burn the holes in it. That's where we'll plant all the plants. But it's basically setting the soil up so we have a good crop. And because of the seed material and the plant material that is provided for us, and is a higher quality than what you would normally find for sale in retail. It's actually all commercial varieties were designed and grown for higher yield, higher production.
So Stephen, you kind of gravitated to this task at the mission because if I remember right, you have some history in kind of horticulture and agriculture in some way. Didn't you work for a nursery or a garden or something?
I've actually worked for a few nurseries in my time. My grandfather taught me playing with plants when I was a kid. And he actually started me grafting plant material when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
Showing me how. It's like, not that my grafting was successful at that time, but I really enjoy making things grow. And playing in the dirt. It's like I usually get paid to play in the dirt.
So another reason that this job was really kind of a nice fit for you on top of that was, well, you had kind of an incident while you were here. You had a kind of a unique surgical incident that happened while you were here. Tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, this goes back to May of 23. I was actually supposed to have a double hernia repaired. And the last thing the surgeon did before signing the order for surgery was checked my heart. Well, he wasn't happy with what he found. So 9 months later, a whole bunch of testing, I saw a cardiologist for the first time. I was informed that my heart was only working at 20%. They did a couple more tests to determine where the blockages were, and a month later, after seeing a cardiologist for the first time, I had a quadruple bypass open heart surgery.
That's a pretty substantial surgery for a guy that was homeless before you came here.
Yeah, I was living before I came to the mission. I've been living in my car probably for the last year and a half. And it's funny because the area where I used to park during the day was a park in Josephine County in Central Point, because I used to read. That was my way to waste my time. Because I'm an alcoholic, so drinking was kind of out of the question. I've gravitated back and forth from that, but a friend of mine that used to be my neighbor found me in the park. She actually worked for an organization here in Grants Pass called Options. They got me set up through Choices, which is a counseling, drug and alcohol counseling system. In the process of that, we were commuting from Jackson County to Grants Pass. So it became functional for me to find housing in Grants Pass. The mission was recommended. I came into the mission in March of, if I'm not mistaken, it was March of 23. I have never, ever been homeless before. I've always been able to work and always been able to put a roof over my head. But with the double hernia, it just kept getting worse. I mean, I got it like 10 years ago.
And about how old are you? You're right now, you're like, what, 25, 26, something like that?
Now?
Yeah.
I just turned 68.
68.
My birthday is the 13th of May.
So just running out and jumping into being competitive in the job world out here. I mean, it's not that you can't work or anything like that, but you're going to go and be competitive in a Home Depot or something like that, or go work for a nursery. I mean, nursery work is hard.
That's
it's probably the hardest work I've ever done in my life.
Yeah,
I worked for a nursery for a number of years.
It was. I mean, all the years that I worked in the nursery, I mean, I started out as, what they considered carryout.
Yep.
And worked my way into a salesperson, and then from there into, I was actually the manager of 2 different nurseries in my period of time. But
in your 60s, with a double hernia,
yeah.
and now having to get quadruple open heart bypass surgery, and then having to recover from that, as well as they take care of the hernias yet?
Yeah, they actually did. It was,
yeah.
While I was in the hospital recovering from the open heart surgery, there was an incident with my bowels not working the way they were supposed to. So they called in the general surgeon. He took one look at the hernia and went, "That's gotta go." And that night, they actually did reconstructive surgery and eliminated the one hernia. They said the one on the right side was not that bad. If it got worse, let them know. So I had basically 2 surgeries in a 5-day period of time, and then 5 days after that, I was back here at the mission. And a lot of people are going, "No aftercare." It's like, no, it's because I was really scared about what was going on. That's something I've never experienced before. Yeah. But people through my church, people through here at the mission, everybody started praying for me. And that's what I was told to do, was pray, was give it up. Let go and let God. And that's what I did. I mean, a week before the surgery, people are going, it's like, yeah, they're basically going to kill you and then bring you back to life. It's like, okay. It's like, I couldn't fix this. And that's what I've learned in the period of time that I've been at the mission. Okay, it's like, my way doesn't work. I'm not large and in charge, and it's not about me. I've been fortunate enough that I have worked probably every work assignment or chore assignment in the mission. I was fortunate enough to have knowledge of working with plant material, working in a garden. I actually used to have quite a large one when I lived in San Diego before I came to Oregon. But this is, it's been a godsend for me. This is, people will drive up to the Rock, and while I'm working in the garden, they go, "Oh, your garden's lovely." And I go, "Thank you very much, but it's not my garden, it's God's garden." Okay, I'm just a servant. And that is what, if I understand right, that is a grace that God and Christ gave me. To be able to make things grow. And who am I to deny God about doing what I absolutely enjoy and seems to come natural?
That's the kind of thing that, it made it an easy choice to go to what's our direction? What are we going to do with with Stephen Head? What's the direction with him? Well, there's just some things that are work, you know. It's peanut butter and chocolate, you know. Two great tastes that taste great together. They're things that just work, and when you see that happening, you know, we can sit and fight against it, or we can try and work with it. And again, I think that's just part of the blessing of the work that you're doing here. You, brother, you've been such a pleasure to work with, and we've been watching you grow and heal from your surgeries, and you know, continue. And you started, you know, pretty slow. I remember you had this little monitor on you that would beep at you really loud if your heartbeat was going too fast and everything. And now you're out here, you know, today it's in the 80s right now, and might even reach 90 or something, you know, today. It's not too terribly hot. We're in the middle of the day, but it's going to get there in you know, in a few short weeks. It'll be plenty hot out. And one of the things that I like about this job and you is that, you know, when, you know, at 67 years old, you need a job that you can work at, that it isn't super high pressure, that you can do it kind of at your own pace, that I can trust that, you know, we can just hand this over to somebody who cares about it, who has expertise in it, and who gets to share in the blessings, not only because this adds to the great food at the mission, but it also adds to this great project going right next door to us with a kind of a sister ministry with the Rock Food Pantry, and the joy of being able to go, my goodness, we get to add a substantial amount of food to what they give out. And not just any food, unlike a lot of food pantry food that can be stuff that's on the edge of its usability. This is the freshest it can possibly be, getting to them, and that's really exciting. You know, I kind of want to transition a little bit and kind of go, you know, so. Still 3 years, that's a long time to be here, but given all of the, you know, surgery time, prep time, recovery time, it makes a lot of sense. We start thinking about the future, the end goal. I mean, we plant plants and with an end in mind. What are you going to do with all of that harvest? Where's it going to go? What's the goal of a mission garden or something like that? And we also think of this at every time somebody comes into the mission. You know, they come in with a need, but that's not really necessarily what qualifies them. What qualifies them has more to do with what's the goal that we have. You know, can we see this person becoming independent? Can we find them landing in a space of independence? Do they exhibit both the will and the ability to become independent in some way? And so we're asking, like, what kinds of seeds are we planting in there, and what's going to be the harvest, and what's going to be the outcome of that harvest in the lives of people, you know, of the harvest of people's lives and everything. With you, you know, we got a guy that's pretty broken. We know some things needed to be fixed. You've never been a drinking problem here, or never been a problem for us, a discipline problem or anything. You're one of the guys that just, hey man, just leave me alone, and you can trust me and point me in the right direction, and you can trust me to do the right things. But we started finding over the years, we found that a guy like you is almost the hardest kind of guy to get out of here. And the reason is because, again, we're trying to find a place for you to land. Where would you go? You know, if you have a Social Security income, right? Mm-hmm. Do you mind telling me what that is?
My Social Security income, basically my retirement,
yeah,
is $951 a month.
So $951 a month in a town where a one-bedroom apartment's going to be somewhere around $1,200 to $1,500 if you can find a one-bedroom apartment. You're already you're already dead in the water. You know, I mean, so it's one way. That's enough to live on if you're going to live out of your car. But if you're going to live out of your car, you're going to die quick. You know, it's not good for you that way. So we're going. And typically, what we've done in the past is we've tried to like get enough guys like you together and hope you can rent a house or something like that. Try and advocate for somebody who's got a 3-bedroom house, and we can put 4 of you in it, and maybe the 4 of you, if you combine your income, can afford something like that and do that. And when we've done that successfully with a lot of people over the years, but it just takes a long time, you know, and it's really challenging. And most of the time what I end up finding is guys going, yeah, but you know, this is the benefit of the car, is that I don't have to deal with all these other personalities. I can feel safe in it. I can close out the world around me. And that what I'd really love is the thing that nobody in society is going to afford me, which is a place of my own. I mean, you're kind of the quintessential reason for MissionView Village, you know, and I know you've heard a little bit about what we've been presenting on that. What's your understanding of MissionView Village?
My understanding of the MissionView Village is for an affordable living environment that is based on your rent, your utilities is based on your monthly income. And if I'm not mistaken, it's like 40 or 50% of your income.
Like 30%.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. It's been a while since
it's okay.
Those numbers were thrown around.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a stable living environment.
Yeah.
Where I can kind of start making my own decisions again. I mean, not that I don't make my own decisions here at the mission, but I would like to move on. I mean, it's one of the things that I would like to do is I'd love to go back to work, but that isn't probably going to happen because with a heart condition and various other ailments that seem to come with old age, I'm what they call an HR nightmare. My liability is way too high. So someplace like the MissionView Village would be ideal for me.
Yeah.
Because I would love to continue to keep working in the gardens here at the mission. And being in the operation of MissionView Village, I would hope that might become available to me. Not to mention also possibly managing a small garden or the outdoor maintenance at MissionView Village facilities.
And that's the kind of thing, you know, what you're talking about right now is really, honestly, you're right in our sweet spot. I mean, and this is the kind of thing that as we've been talking with our board, our donors, and amongst each other, you know, in the community at large, we're saying, look, you know, it's guys like you that make up the need, and nobody's building the solution out there, you know, in a way that doesn't continue to wreck the housing market, or in a way that doesn't that doesn't end up leaving you with nothing and anybody that is associated with you with debt. In caring for you in your old age, you know, and everything. And so our thought was just, well, what if we built something that provided that independence, provided in genuine independence with real dignity. I mean, you know, you'd have your own bedroom, you'd have your own closet, your own bathroom, your own living room and kitchen. You could if you needed to get up in the middle of the night thinking, oh yeah, I got church in the morning and I don't have any clothes that are clean, you could do it in your own laundry set, you know, right there, instead of having to walk down in your underwear to the laundromat or whatever, you know. Just an ability to really have the dignity that I think everybody really wants, especially in their old age. I want something that's easy to take care of. I want something that provides me with safety and security, but that's something that I can still call mine in some genuine way. It's my space, and I have control over it, and I can be a blessing to the community around me and be received that way, like I'm intended to be a blessing to the community around me. That's the kind of thing that we had in mind with MissionView Village, and so, I guess, Stephen, if the Lord keeps you here, while we're in this building out position, you are welcome to stay as long as we need to do that. And I just want to tell you thanks for the work that you've done in this garden, man. I mean, the thing that makes the job easy at the Gospel Rescue Mission, and not much of the Gospel Rescue Mission work is easy, but the stuff that does make it easy, and you know that just as well as anybody, you live here. What makes it easy is when there's guys that they understand, men and women who understand they're not trying to be combative, they just need to be patient, and they want to contribute and partner with the people who are working to support them. And they're grateful for what they have, and you really model that. You're really kind of the epitome of that kind of a resident for us, and I really appreciate you, man. I mean, I've appreciated your friendship. I've appreciated getting to know you. I've appreciated swapping garden stories with you and all that kind of stuff. I appreciate the maturity that you bring to the younger guys that are coming into the mission that don't always get it at first, and maybe even to the folks that are maybe wobbling a little bit or being tempted to wobble a little bit in their sobriety, and when you get to tell them, hey, it's going to be okay. Hey, come out and work in the garden with me. Hey, we're going to make it through this. And you just model it. And again, I'm grateful for that. You're a guy that's easy to work with in that regard. The heartbreak for us at the mission is always when somebody gives up on the waiting for that place, and I think that in Grants Pass, the community is eager to have and to help people who want to be a positive contribution to their community. I think in our town, that's what I see, and what I hear in you is you want to be that guy, and again, so I appreciate you. I see all the hard work you're doing, and I think it's just time to tell people your story a little bit, and that's why we wanted to come and do this little podcast, this little interview, to tell people something about you, So maybe if I'm talking to, so I'm flipping through YouTube or Facebook or wherever this thing might go, and something about you catches my attention, something about the video catches my attention. I plug in, I start watching, I'm checking this thing out, and I'm in your situation. I'm homeless, I'm living in a car. Yeah, I struggle a little bit with either, any of those things, but I could give it up, and I know I could. And especially if I had that kind of support around me. What would you tell that person who's sitting there thinking, maybe I should consider the Grants Pass Gospel Rescue Mission?
If you're living in a car, even if you're not living in a car, if you don't have a place, if you're homeless, there's nothing wrong with a mission. Yes, there are a few rules that some people just don't want to follow, but what they're asking of us is very little, and it all has to do with life skills. They're slowly teaching us to be productive members of society again. And if anything, and I would say it's like, if you haven't accepted Jesus into your life, I would consider it. Because before I came to the mission, if you told me that I'd be going to church every Sunday, and and not drinking, not smoking. 3 years, the last 3 years that I've been here, I'd have gone out and got drunk and laughed in your face. But that was the old me. I've come to understand me, and in coming to understand me, I've learned to trust me. And in trusting myself, I've learned to let others trust me, and I've also learned to let others love me. And that was a feeling and an emotion that I really knew nothing about, because I've always been alone. But if you're hurting, there's always a bed here. And like I said, what they ask of you is really not a whole heck of a lot. And you wind up being a better person for it.
Well, brother, that's just, it doesn't get better than that. Yes and amen. It's, and again, you probably on the hot days, some might say you have the hardest job here. And if you're saying, it's not that much, it's not that hard. I think that you could speak as loud as anybody here on these things. Again, brother, thank you. You're a joy to work with. Look forward to seeing what's going to go in the beds. Look forward to seeing all the harvest. We've had 19,000 pounds. And this year, will we get more? Who knows? I'm perfectly content. Every year it seems like we get more and more, and I keep thinking we can't possibly grow more than that. And then you go and prove me wrong. You and David James and the Rogue Gardeners and everybody that's involved. We get so much great stuff. We've got Dixondale Farms from Texas. We get the Grange Co-op right here in town. We get all kinds of people. We've had help from just all kinds of organizations that have gifted to us and been generous to us. And look, the minute I start naming names, I start feeling guilty that I'm going to miss somebody. If I've missed you, believe me, my heart is for you, and I am so grateful for your gifts to us and your support to us. I can't think of a business in town that hasn't supported us in some way. I can't think of, and that goes to every individual, to all the way up to the Chamber of Commerce itself, and and downtown Main Street, and all the great organizations. Grants Pass is a great place to live. This is a great place to see God's work and God's kingdom being built. It's a great place to see it happen. We've got a favorable relationship with our city council, with our mayor, with our county commissioners, with everybody in town. We are grateful to what God is doing, for what God is doing in and through the good, really generous people here in Grants Pass. And Stephen Head will be hopefully one of the people that you're going to see as we finish building out MissionView Village. We are still about a little over $1 million away from really getting that thing going. And we really need that kind of funds. If you can support us, that's fantastic. If you can't, please at least pray for us, because we know the God who can help us with all of these things. We've got things in the works. There's more going on all the time. Love to share it all with you. Join our prayer team. Get our newsletter. We'll try and keep you as involved as we can. And again, thank you so much for all of the generosity and all the kindness. And thank you for listening. This is, again, another podcast, the Grants Pass Gospel Rescue Mission. I'm Brian Boteller, Executive Director. I'll see you next time.